This meeting tonight. And before we begin, I'd like everyone to rise and say the pledge to the flag. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So a few ground rules to start out. This is an informational meeting. There will be no votes taken tonight. Voting will take place tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the town offices in Depot Square. First, we're going to hear from Chad Whitehead, the town manager, who will review Articles 4 through 7, as well as Articles 28 and 29, and Article 1 of the Special Services District. Then we'll hear from Karen Conroy, the superintendent of schools, to review Articles 1 and 3. Following each of these presentations, we'll take questions and comments. Please identify yourself, and in the interest of time and respect for others, please keep your question and remarks brief. You will need to go to the microphone in the middle in the deference to folks watching from home so they can hear you, and identify yourself and ask your question or make your comment and who you want to direct it to. After you've asked your question, we'll call on others. If there's several people, I'd ask you to form a line so I know who's next to ask a question. Form a line by the mic. And any follow-up question or second question, I'll call on you after we've heard from people who haven't spoken or are speaking for the first time. And then following these presentations, anyone who would like to speak on behalf of Articles 9 through 27, the special appropriations, may do so. And following that, we'll adjourn until tomorrow morning for the voting. So I'll begin. Let's begin with Chad.
Bear with me while I jockey some things around. Where's the Cat 5 cable?
Technology.
All right, so for the folks at home, I will share my screen. Your device ran into a problem and needs to restart. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody get that?
What's your social security?
My mother's maiden name. We're in a small town. People know those things. All right. This kind of leads right in because you guys are following me here. So people, if you are looking for information on the town meeting for tomorrow, or if you've got anything that you have for questions after this, or you go home, you can just go right to this tab right here that I'm going to, upper in the upper right-hand corner. And there's some links to, as you scroll down the page, there's the Zoom meeting link right here, but also links to further down. We've got some budget information as well as details on the budget, town meeting warning, et cetera. So let me just get the Zoom portion of it. I did have this all set up too. Karen, you gotta just let me into the meeting. All right. So we are back, and thank you, everybody, for hanging in there. So I am Chad Whitehead. I'm St. Johnsbury's town manager. I've had the pleasure of being here since 2015, so this is going on this is my 7th year here at town meeting, and going on my 8th year here at the town, and thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Really enjoy working with everybody here at the town. Select board members, we got Frank Emsall, select board chair. Dennis Smith is here, Tracy Shao, Brendan Hughes, maybe he's online, and then Steve Isham. So thank you. As I just showed the people here, information on the town meeting can be found on our website. Our website is very simple, www.stjvt.com. So exciting things continue to happen here in St. Johnsbury, and as you can read in the town report, St. Johnsbury is a different place than it was 5 to 10 years ago. The Vermont Department of Historic Preservation or Community Development hosted a downtown historic preservation conference this last summer in St. Johnsbury, which brought about 400 leaders from all around the state and from beyond that to St. Johnsbury to visit our community, also talk about different strategies and things that have worked for downtowns to help revitalize and improve themselves. The long-awaited Lamoille Valley Rail Trail is open. There still needs to be a little bit of work done on it, but we're really excited to see what the actual grand opening this summer is going to look like and what that trail, that asset of that trail is really going to bring to the town, how much visitation we're going to realize, and what the impacts are on us. And so last year, I got to announce after the St. J. Chambers report that 12 new businesses had opened in the downtown, which I thought was pretty exciting, and I didn't know that that was something we were going to be able to do over and over again, but this year's report is actually 29 new businesses opened in the downtown, so congratulations to those business owners for doing that. It takes an incredible amount of courage and effort to open up a business, and I'm really proud of the work that those businesses are putting into getting themselves open here in town. Last year, I said I'd also like to recognize and thank the numerous organizations that put in countless hours of planning work to bring a number of events into the town again this last year. And so just a couple of those events that we did get to participate in the downtown in this last year, and we do look forward to looking at those again this next year. So as far as partners to do all this, to make events and projects in St. Johnsbury possible, there are several organizations working tirelessly. Both NCIC and NVDA are economic development organizations that provide assistance on multiple projects. Because of their close proximity to our offices, we utilize them as much as possible. St. Johnsbury Academy not only provides us with world-class education for our high school students, but it also provides for our recreation department. The town school also provides exceptional education and support for our children and space for meetings such as this, as well as their facilities to help support youth programming and our rec program. So NVRH is our high-quality healthcare provider for the region, and they're involved in a number of different initiatives throughout town. They partner with almost everybody they can find and are always at the table. St. J Baseball is rooted deep in our community and continues to bring programming for our youth. Discover St. Johnsbury, as I mentioned before, they coordinate our downtown programs for local businesses, as well as numerous events at the Welcome Center and throughout town, including Vital Fridays, the Food Truck Tuesdays, the Pet Parade, and coming soon, Maple Fest. I'd like to take a quick note to recognize and thank Scott Beck for his years of service and helping put together the Maple Fest. So thank you, Scott, for all your work in that in the past. And I'm sure you're going to be well involved with Jillian as she plans this next Maple Fest. Catamount Arts partners to bring arts and music into the community on a regular basis, including their numerous efforts to continue First Night. And it's important to note the venues and assistance provided by the St. Johnsbury Academy and the town school, as well as several of the churches and other public spaces that make themselves available for First Night. St. Johnsbury Athenaeum provides programs for children, teens, adults throughout the year. History and heritage is a wealth of knowledge of who we are and where we came from as a town. The St. Johnsbury Band is turning 190 this year, and so one of the oldest bands, if not the oldest band in the United States. And if David's here, he can correct me. We got Dog Mountain. They remain open to pet lovers and continue to provide a location for the Levitt Amp Music Series for free concerts throughout the summer, thanks to hard work, again, from Catamount Arts. The Fairbanks Museum is so rooted into our culture that it's actually part of our governance. And our charter that's before legislation right now continues with that history. Colors of the Kingdom is brought to us by the Northeast Kingdom Chamber of Commerce, who also works to promote St. Johnsbury and the region as a whole. And then our partners with Calex, who provide our ambulance services and work closely with the town to provide excellent emergency response. And this is not an all-inclusive list. There's a number of other agencies that are out there working that need to be recognized, and I won't get them all. And every year somebody comes to me after town meeting and says, hey, don't forget about us. But there's many others, such as Northeast Kingdom Human Services and NECA, the Hub, Umbrella, Kiwanis, Elks Club, Rotary, VFW, American Legion, and the Moose Club. So these next few slides, I'm going to just go over some of the reports. There's much more detailed information within the town report. I'm just going to hit on a few of the highlights. So starting with the fire department. The fire department responded to, let me go back here. They responded to 1,624 incidents. It's slightly less than last year, but still remains quite a bit higher than in years prior to and even during COVID. So those calls included fires, medical assist, hazardous materials incidents, car accidents, rescue calls, et cetera. We house assets that can be used throughout the state for hazardous materials operation, decontamination, and specialty rescue, including rope rescue, confined space, trench rescue, and building collapse. And we also have water rescue capabilities within the town. The fire department maintains an average response of 3 minutes and 49 seconds, with 80% of their calls being under 4 minutes. They are an ISO 4x, which is a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. Being in a 4x is pretty aggressive for a community of our size and actually has impacts on your homeowner's insurance in a positive manner. So similar to surrounding volunteer fire departments, St. Johnsbury does struggle with filling vacancies within our call staff. Even though the training requirements and demands of a job are very challenging, the opportunity to serve your community is extremely rewarding. If you or anybody you know is interested in a career in fire sciences, please contact Chief Reed, who is right there. And so the department also works closely, as I noted on the bottom here, with our code compliance officer. Just taking a second to talk about a success story that recently happened. This last September, our code compliance officer, Preston Sterling, conducted an inspection of a 5-unit wood structure apartment building. And during that inspection, one of the violations that was resolved working with the landlord was the inclusion of, or upgrading the smoke detectors and getting fire extinguishers into every apartment. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, early in the morning, a sewing machine cord shorted out and caught up fire in one of the downstairs units, and the tenant was alerted immediately by the smoke detector, grabbed the fire extinguisher, and was able to put the fire out without much damage to the building, where there was no loss of units. Nobody was displaced at all, and the fire department showed up, inspected the rest of the building, and the building was ultimately saved. I'm convinced that that could have been a very different story, but thanks to our code compliance program, we didn't lose a building off our books. Nobody got hurt, and there were no fatalities, which I think is an incredible success. Moving over to the police department, while we embrace community policing initiatives, the work with other agencies to find alternatives to arrests and incarceration, they still focus our duties to enforce the law and bring offenders before the courts. We appreciate our residents' participation as we strive to make our community safe and crime-free. The police department responded to 4,462 incidents this last year and made 592 arrests in 2022. 107 of them, I believe, were warrants. The police department is ultimately available within the village limits for emergency response. All officers meet and exceed mandatory training requirements, and as within other emergency services, and probably even enhanced at this time, recruitment and retention within a police department is extremely difficult. This is a nationwide challenge, and we're working as much as we can to help recruit officers into our department so that we can maintain 24/7 coverage for the town of St. Johnsbury. In addition to 24/7 fire coverage and 24/7 police coverage, we do have a 24/7 dispatch. Dispatch realized an additional 500 calls over last year, bringing their call total to 11,500 calls. In addition to providing service to our police and fire, our police department serves 2 ambulance services and 10 other fire departments outside of the town of St. Johnsbury. So as the state police seek to discontinue dispatching services, St. Johnsbury is poised to be in a good position to continue to provide dispatching to our region. We're not sure where dispatching and the state police are going to end, but depending on how things work their way through the legislation, St. Johnsbury remains ahead of the curve as far as in comparison to other areas of the state when it comes to maintaining our dispatch services. So if you need someone, you call, we will be there. Our Department of Public Works, so they work on maintaining 114 miles of road, 17 miles of sidewalk, and with Steve Beauregard as our Public Works Director, they work very diligently at maintaining our roads, sidewalks, and bridges, stormwater systems, water and sewer systems, as well as town buildings. Due to a mild winter last year, but also due to utilizing brine within our salt, DPW was able to reduce our salt use by 20%. That was, in turn, met with a 20% increase in the cost of salt. So it stabilized us, it didn't save us, but it did stabilize us. So last summer, half of the DPW crews worked on rebuilding sections of Old Man Mountain Road, Crapo Hill Road, while others rebuilt catch basins and manholes and replaced fire hydrants within town. This next year, DPW plans to work on improvements on Spalding, Mount Pisgah, and Bible Hill roads. After bids came in, approximately 40% higher on pavement this last fall, the pavement we anticipated on doing, we chose to postpone until this spring to see if we can get more competitive bids. If bids continue to come in increased, we will have to pivot and determine with the select board how to proceed with our paving that we need to conduct in this year's budget. So of course, these departments are not successful without support from the management team, and this includes the finance officer, assistant town manager, administration manager, the town and clerk's offices, zoning and assessor's office, and the rest of the management staff. So much of any town's success relies on volunteerism, and the level of participation in volunteerism in St. Johnsbury is no exception. We have active, passionate residents who join boards and committees, attend countless meetings and volunteer at events and cheer on our local teams. I would like to just take a second to thank those volunteers. Their efforts are impactful and meaningful here in St. Johnsbury, as they are with any successful community. If you're interested in participating in any of these boards or committees, please reach out to me, and I will get you connected to the right person. So jumping into the municipal budget, as I'm sure anybody who's in business knows, this last year, looking forward, we're seeing an overall that expenses are up approximately 10.8%. So this is largely due to increases in labor costs, including changes for us in some positions from part-time to full-time. Increases in pension contribution is another large factor. Our pension contribution for the town's pension, most employees in the town belong to the state pension program, but we still have a town pension that we have to manage. Generally is in the range of about $160,000. This year, it was, when the budget was put together, it was $348,000, so that has a considerable impact. And then there's general increases in costs of fuel and materials, and that is something that the town is not immune to. As we discussed last year, there are a number of services provided by our police department that benefit those that live outside of the Special Services District, and we have included a transfer of $150,000 from the general fund to the Special Services Fund. In the past 5 years, though, on a positive note, our reserves have grown. As you can see, the general fund grew by 41.6%. The highway fund has grown 33.5%, and the Special Services reserve funds have grown by 14.8%. So to stabilize tax rates, we are proposing the use of some of these reserves, including $300,000 in the general fund, $150,000 in the highway fund, and $40,000 in the Special Services Fund. Use of reserve funds to offset operation is not something that is sustainable long-term, and we know that. And so moving forward, as we focus on improving St. Johnsbury, we also need to focus on capturing grand list growth, adopting additional revenues, and developing equity in how we pay for our emergency services. So how do we do our budget? What's the process? And I won't go into this in grave detail, but quite simply, the management team puts together the draft budget. It's reviewed publicly by the select board. The select board opens up public comment at several meetings before they finalize it and bring it to the voters at town meeting day. One of the things that I know we in this room know is that St. Johnsbury is an Australian ballot town, so once the select board changes or sets the budget, it's just simply a yes/no question on the items on the ballot being voted on tomorrow. The tax rates, though, are set in August, and so the select board can then make an adjustment to the budget. They cannot expend more money than the voters have authorized them to expend, but they could adjust the budget down if something should happen. And we did this a number of years ago as COVID sat in. Just through the uncertainties, we made a downward budget adjustment before tax bills were sent out. So just going over the numbers, total revenues, and so these are our complete revenues. They include pilot payments, tax revenue, fees and fines, and any other resources or sources of revenue that we have. So the total revenue of all the funds combined is $10,026,364. Of these numbers, $2.8 million of that does not come from taxes. It comes from outside sources. On the expenses side of things, the town manager's office is $502,235, and the clerk and treasurer at $168,975 and $136,600. This primarily cost is covering salaries and benefits. The Board of Civil Authority is $13,653, and this covers and is impacted by the number of elections that we have coming up in 2024. Assessor's office is $133,562. It's a continuation of contracting with New England Municipal Consultants as an in-house part-time position to handle administrative work. Economic development budget of $134,000 includes tax payments to the industrial park and continues to fund our rental housing improvement grant program and pays for our designated downtown contributions. Zoning and planning is $102,785, and this represents an increase in labor costs to include a planner. We've had actually budgeted this increase in 20 and 21, but we made the adjustment and lost that position. We are seeing increases in permit demands, but we also are seeing needs for planning within the town. Code enforcement is $118,643. We removed this out of the fire department a couple of years ago, and it continues and will remain in the manager's office. Public safety building is $50,500, and this includes our utilities and heat work and everything for 1187. Continuing on the general fund, dog control is $1,000. It remains unchanged. The Board of Selectmen, $6,990, and primarily consists of some training, but the stipends for the select board members. Dispatch center at $681,471. Increases are due to increased costs of labor. As I noted before, this is spread out amongst other agencies, so we get about $375,000 in outside revenues to help offset our costs of dispatch. Fire department, $1,297,185. It continues with equipment reserve transfers for the preparation of the replacement of engine 1. Solid waste, we continue to share our household hazardous waste days with the town of Burke, so our solid waste cost represents $40,000. The Palmer building, $178,721, includes heating and building utilities, cleaning, as well as principal and interest payments for bonds done for years past. General fund expenses, $1,036,279. This includes IT, audits, legal services, the cemetery, beautification, and largely a portion, the special appropriations, which are voted on the ballot individually. So the general fund expenses add up to a total of $4,602,600. Special services fund. This primarily represents the police department at $1,501,728. Increases here are due to increased costs in labor to cover overtime and benefits. Special services expense line item is also the IT audit and legal services, but also includes the transfer to dispatch. And since the police volume goes up and our calculation on how we determine how everybody pays for dispatch is based on call volume, we see increases there. But that total budget is $274,305. For a total special services fund expense of $1,776,033. On the highway fund, highway garage and equipment, $432,344, includes all expenses required for maintaining our equipment fleet, as well as the labor for the mechanic. Summer maintenance, $1,240,943, includes labor costs and summer work materials such as calcium chloride, gravel, culverts, and ditching materials. Winter maintenance is $910,359. Beyond labor, the biggest item here is winter salt. Street safety and traffic is $142,706. This is utility costs for our lights, the downtown lighting, as well as signage and summer help labor for our line striping and and painting on our paved roads. The highway fund is $784,111. Beyond the typical IT and auditing expenses, this fund includes debt services for our equipment replacements, as well as highway share of payments for infrastructure projects. So the total highway fund expense is $3,510,463. Parking meter fund, $87,295. This is labor costs for enforcement as well as administration, with some funding for signage and office supplies. But as I mentioned before, this is paid for out of fees and fines. The rec department has increased from $10,000 to $50,000, which is paid to and operated by the St. Johnsbury Academy. So in summary, budget This is just the revenue that's raised or asked for of the taxes. And so stripping out the pilot payments and all those other sources of revenue, the general fund is $2,643,318. Special appropriations, which are voted on independently, those are $314,670 combined. The Special Services District, which is primarily our police force, is $1,443,752. And then the Highway Fund, $2,503,239. So what's this mean to the taxpayer? So ultimately, inside the Special Services District, so if you are paying for police services, you're looking at a 6.33% increase over this current year. Outside the Special Services, it's a 3.55% increase. And so some highlights or some takeaways, the overall expenses are up nearly 11%. The use of $300,000 from general fund highway or unassigned reserves, and the use of $150,000 from the highway construction reserves and $40,000 from the special services reserves was utilized to try to stabilize the tax rate and keep it below that 11%. And so on the other two articles that are on the warrant are the wastewater treatment facility bond articles. So in October of 2020, the Vermont Waste Management issued new requirements for PFAS. And so this is all stemmed from PFAS showing up in groundwater supplies and actually even making its way into feed and making its way into milk. That hasn't happened in Vermont, but it has happened in Maine. But across the nation, PFAS regulations started to change. After some testing, the town became aware that PFAS contamination was at application sites where we land apply our solids from the treatment plant and have done so for a number of years, for decades. This was a state-approved and monitored program, and it was something that we were permitted for. However, we stopped land applying and realized that we had to pivot and find another way. So in the past 2 years, while we're trying to study alternatives as to what we can do, and as the legislation started taking shape, we had to basically rent or contract out somebody to come dewater and truck off to a landfill our solids that are collected at the wastewater treatment plant at a cost of about $250,000 annually. So our engineers studied different alternatives, and those included the disposal of liquid sludge. So just the way it comes out of the plant right now as we normally would land apply it, we take it to an incineration, take it to a landfill, biosolids manager, so another treatment plant, or we can treat it and sell it as to the public as Class A sludge, which some communities have done. And then our other alternative was mechanical dewatering. So the sludge that comes out is primarily water. It's 97% water. That water is pressed out until it becomes much less water, and then we bring it down to about 30%, or it actually looks like a flake. That gets loaded into a truck and shipped off to a landfill. And so the mechanical dewatering financially made the most sense. So the total project cost on this, including the equipment, the dewatering building, et cetera, is about 2.7 million with all the soft costs included. It comes out to about 3.998 million. So the two bond articles that are on the article for tomorrow, well, I guess here's some of the rate impacts or the impacts on costs. Currently, St. Johnsbury is eligible for a 75% grant through USDA Rural Development, and we're eligible for $500,000 in principal forgiveness through the state's funding program. So best case scenario, if we can combine those two funds, we end up with about $3.12 million in grants towards this project, and we're on the hook for about $35,000 a year for the next 40 years. Worst case scenario, we only qualify for the CWSRF, that's the state funds, $500,000 and a 1% loan on a 30-year note, because that's where their program difference. We have an annual payment of $135,000. So the worst case scenario is we keep doing what we're doing right now, and we pay $250,000 annually to have a contractor come and take care of this for us. So I'm really going to be working hard for the best case scenario. And we do have applications submitted already for CWSRF and being prepared for USDA Rural Development. And right now is a fairly good time to get in line for infrastructure funds. So the two articles, article number 28, basically our last wastewater treatment project, which happened and even closed out before this problem became available to us, because of the amount of grant funds that we were awarded for it, we still have $2.3 million in unexpended bond authority. So we did those projects, they came in at the budget, but the grants allowed the select board to have remaining bond authority that they could utilize towards another project. St. Johnsbury historically, through the select board, has brought it back to the voters because it is a different project, even though they have the authority to do it, but to ask the voters, do you allow us to use this unexpended bond funds to be utilized towards this project? So that the first article is just saying, can we use the existing authority that we have to partially fund this project moving forward? The second article, Article 29, is asking for the additional authority the select board needs to bid the project out. So the additional $1.676 million is the difference between the existing bond authority they have and the $3.998 million that's estimated for the project to move forward. And that's all I've got. You gonna take questions now, or do you want to?
No, let's see if there's some questions to Mr. Whitehead. If there are, come to the center and talk into the mic and identify yourself. And I'm sure he'll be pleased to answer.
It's muted.
Yes, sir.
Hi, question for Chad. My name's Sanford Boyle. Chad, last year I noticed, and I questioned, the transfer out of the general fund of the money to the special service fund. The comment last year was that there were police calls, need for police outside of that. Obviously, we would want that to be responded to. This year, it's gone up more than double. I'm wondering where those numbers are coming from to justify that amount of expenditure or transfer from the general fund to the special service fund, because this is a big change. Obviously, since I've been in St. Johnsbury, we've kept those separate. Now it seems like they're starting to merge. I was concerned last year. I'm really concerned this year, knowing that it's gone up well over 140%. So maybe you could speak to that, how those numbers are pulled together, how they're justified, if they're available to the taxpayers. I'm not sure. Well, maybe you can speak to that, sorry.
Yeah, and I get the, is that all right, David?
Go ahead.
Okay, I get the gist of your question. What we did last year is we based it on the call volumes that were generated by the schools and some level of the call volumes that were generated by the Fairbanks Inn, because that was acting as a regional resource to provide shelter for the homeless. Having even the general fund pay for that and not the state of Vermont pay for that, I have issue with. However, within the Special Services District, and I'll use myself as an example, I work for a not-for-profit. The company that I work for doesn't pay taxes. My son goes to school here in the town of St. Johnsbury, and my family enjoys police protection while I'm here, and not my employer. And I live outside of the Special Services District. I live out in the town. So I get police protection and I don't pay anything for it. Whereas people that live in the Special Services District have to pay for that for me to enjoy. The $150,000 number came from it's 10% of the Special Service or the police budget. I would dare say if we ran the numbers, and we should do this, if we looked at all the not-for-profits that don't pay taxes, however, enjoy police protection, it's probably much more than that. It's probably closer to 300,000 or so. But it's an exercise that we should go through and understand. It doesn't mean that's the way the town should choose to do it, but it's something we should know. The other thing that I would encourage people to think about is if we didn't have a police department inside the Special Services District, what would happen to the property values inside the Special Services District? I would dare say the chief would probably back me up that crime would be intolerable. And then what would that impact be on the people that live outside the special services district when the values, home values and property values plummet inside? Does that shed any light on it?
It does some. I was looking for where those numbers came from, and it doesn't sound like there's anything concrete.
Yeah, it wasn't, this year it was not based on a call number calculation. It was, we chose to choose 10% of the police budget and presented that forward to the select board.
Was that pulled from what some other towns do that are in the same type of situation? What I mean by having a special service district within a town like we do in St. Johnsbury and the outer area of a town. Are there similar towns that 10% was grabbed and pulled on, or?
I don't know that there's similar towns in Vermont that have a village district set up like ours does. It's slightly different. They either have a village or they don't. And so they have two different governments. And so the short answer to your question is no, it was not. We didn't grab other towns.
Okay. And I've got another question too, but I don't want to take.
Okay, well,
'Cause I know you
we'll
also-
call you back if there's nobody else. Anybody else have a question? I don't know if we can take questions from those watching at home. Anybody indicating they have a question? All right, I guess the floor is yours again.
All right. Sanford Boyle again. The next question I've got, Chad, is with the increase of insurance cost for the town employees, it's crazy, as we all know. We're not the only area in the state, obviously, dealing with this. Is there any opportunity with, because I think we're part of the cities and towns, cities and leagues, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns.
Yeah. Are we getting our insurance through them? Or are we buying it separately as a town?
So our employees' health insurance, is that what you're talking about, employee benefits?
Correct.
Those are done through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Directly from the town?
Yep. Yeah, the league doesn't offer medical benefits.
Oh, they do not?
Yeah, and Rachel can correct me if I'm wrong, but
Has there been any thought about self-insurance for the town, for its employees? I mean, just looking at the amount of money
Right.
that we spend.
and we haven't done it for a little bit, but we do periodically do evaluations with other medical carriers just to make sure. We can't change our coverage. Those are tied into our contracts. So we're kind of limited as far as who the providers are. I think the other one that was looked at once before was MVP. But yeah, we are evaluating that periodically, and we haven't recently, and maybe it's time to take a look.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
Hello,
sir.
Lenny Girardi. I'm from the hinterlands of St. Johnsbury. Mr. Boyle, I'd just like to continue on the lines of what Mr. Boyle brought up. It was a large increase in the transfer from the general fund to the special services. Last year, I believe, was the first year that that transfer ever occurred. So I guess my question to Town Manager Whitehead, perhaps to Chief Pratt, and to any and all of the Select Board is this an ongoing topic of discussion among the Select Board? Can we expect to see this increase in transfer continue for the foreseeable future? And is this perhaps some kind of precursor to St. Johnsbury Special Services District police coverage being extended to the entire town? It seems like a little bit of mission and budget creep. So I'd really like to know what the select board is thinking along these lines, if anyone would care to elaborate. Thank you.
Is there a select board member who'd like to respond? Identify yourself, too.
Oh, Steve Isham, I'm on the select board. No, the select board has not discussed about mission creep or extending the special services to the town. Whether or not there's increases, that's going to be, will be the budget presented to us. So in other words, we didn't vote to have this as, particularly, I think you used the word increase, and no, we're not, there's no plans for a continual increase.
You'd have to go to the mic. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, next we'll hear from Karen Conroy. There you go.
Can't close this.
Karen Conroy, the superintendent of schools. Maybe she'll have better luck technology-wise.
That's the one. I appreciate your patience. Oops. I just want to make sure it's not going to echo. Oh, and it is. Let's try. You get it? All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Karen Conroy. I'm the new superintendent this year. I'm very excited to be in St. Johnsbury. I've really enjoyed my stay here since July, and look forward to the opportunities we have to continue to make improvements for our students here in St. Johnsbury. I am going to just share my screen with those that are viewing us remotely. Let's see. And I'm learning a lot on how you set up your presentations here, so next year will be much better. And that's not working. All right, here we go. So, again, thank you for coming this evening. As you walked in, there are a couple brochures that I encourage you to take as you leave that talk a little bit and tell the story about St. Johnsbury School and what we're offering our students, and there's also a strategic plan document in there as well. So, again, as you walk up, feel free to grab those. I am going to provide just a little update about the St. Johnsbury School District, just some profiles about our schools to give you updates on our enrollments and some of the trends. Right now in the St. Johnsbury School, just looking at the pre-K through 8 program, we have 635 students enrolled, which includes supporting administrators. We have 2 principals. The way the school is set up now, it's divided up based on grades. So we have a pre-K through 3 principal and then 4 through 8, kind of giving a more middle school model for the older kids with separate leadership. We have 40 classroom teachers. These are full-time teachers for each classroom. And we also have 22 students that are attending programs outside of the school district, and I thought this was important to share as it relates to our budget and some of the increases. Just for class information, classes by grade, majority of the classes, there are 4 classes per grade, but we do have 5 in kindergarten this year, and we did open up another pre-K class, so we have 3 pre-K classrooms as well. Also, what's not on here is we support about 63 students that attend independent pre-K programs through the Universal Pre-K program, and we provide services to those students and keep track of them and pay a portion of the tuition. These are not included in the 635. These are 635 are our actual enrollment for this school. And I also included a variety of support staff that we have in the building, additional teachers. We're really focusing on the social emotional supports our students need. So you'll see that we have board certified behavioral analysts, we have behavior specialists, we have tutors, interventionists, a large number of staff that are supporting our students in a variety of different ways. On the high school portion, we have 368 students that have school choice. These students attend a number of different schools, but the majority do attend the St. Johnsbury Academy, 77%. We have about 14% of our students that choose to attend Linden Institute. 5% choose to attend Arlington School, their high school program. 3% are going to the public school in Danville, and there's another half a dozen schools that parents or students have chosen to attend 1% at other schools. We also have a number of out-of-district students in the high school level that are seeking other supports for therapeutic programs, day programs, or residential programs. So there's 24 students also, including the 368 choice students for the high school. So if we look at some of the student enrollment trends, you will see for the elementary that we seem to be back on an increase. Back in 2018, there were 626 students that attended the school here in St. Johnsbury, and we're back up to 635 is our current enrollment. And it does seem to correlate directly with the home study enrollments. During COVID, we saw a high number of increase, up to 92 students in 2021 had chosen to do the home study program through the state of Vermont. And now that seems to be going back down, which we're seeing a direct correlation with the enrollment in the elementary school. Our high school enrollment, grades 9 through 12, that actually has been down a little bit from prior years, but it's heading back up to 392 students is what we currently have, including those out-of-district placement students. And so as I head into talking about more details around our proposed budget, I felt very fortunate to join the school district after the school board and many community members and staff members had participated in a strategic plan, a 5-year strategic plan. It really outlined exactly what I want to accomplish in the next 5 years. And so as we look at our proposed budget, we also use this 5-year strategic plan as a tool to make sure that we were supporting what we truly believe in. And again, I thank everyone who participated in this. We had a lot of support from parents and community members, along with the board and staff. So our strategic plan actually has 4 significant goals with many action steps over the next few years. Our first goal is around excellence. The second goal is around wellness. The third is around connections. And the fourth is around our organization. And again, details of our strategic plan are available in the handouts. There's a little brochure that you're more than welcome to take if you'd like to read more. But we did specifically look at our strategic plan in developing this year's budget, along with a nice problem that I just found out when I moved here, was the ESSER funding that we had available. So you've heard a lot about federal funding supporting COVID and the plans to help students get back on track. The St. Johnsbury School District has been fortunate to be allocated $11,677,000 in ESSER funds, and these are elementary and secondary school emergency relief funding. So this funding has to be focused on 4 pillars of recovery. They need to be around social, emotional, mental health and well-being, student engagement and truancy, academic achievement and success, safe operations, and must prepare, prevent, and respond to COVID-19. So again, when we were building our budget, we also had these funds available that would offset the costs, meeting our strategic plan and meeting the needs of our students. So these are some of examples of how we have the funding allocated to support our strategic plan, and then also the specific needs of our students. So you'll see around excellence, they have helped us to purchase supplies, professional development, our summer school programs, after-school programs, expanding some of our unified arts programs. If I move to wellness, we've started since the first of the year doing weekly staff wellness opportunities for everybody to participate in. And using partnerships in the community to help us provide those opportunities. Heart Space Healing, RecFit are some of the partners that are working with us on wellness. Also supporting staff to support students with mental health needs. We're expanding greatly in outdoor education. Our winter activities program this year was wonderful. And then moving into goal number 3, the ESSER funds, really helping us with our community partnerships with Catch. The after-school and summer programs have really expanded, utilizing the folks in our community. We're looking at significant playground renovations, outdoor learning pavilions, and these are listed under connections because we really want to open up the school as a community hub and allow folks to use and have access to these pavilions and the playgrounds year-round. We're looking at purchasing some transportation vehicles and some messaging board. You see a new messaging board, electronic board that we're working on to have outside the school. And then around organization, looking at additional business office supports, facility improvements, projects such as flooring, some bathroom renovations, concrete work, roof repairs, technology improvements, the screens and the audio equipment in this building is supported through ESSER, and additional facilities and grounds planning for the future. So along with our budget, we're using these ESSER funds to support us. These funds need to be spent or given back by September 2024. So we've made a really conscious effort to identify items that would help support our strategic plan and also save us money as far as the budgeting. So speaking of budgeting, our proposed FY 2024 budget is at $26,141,467. This is at 8.6%, 8.67% increase from FY 2023, which is a significant increase. If you look year over year, even though we've had increased costs for our expenditures in the red line, is showing the increase since FY 2018 to today. This is, again, an 8.67% increase. Our offsetting revenues hasn't changed over the years, but we do have $5,200,680, which is very similar to last year. And so our net education spending that we have proposed for our FY 2024 budget is $20,940,787. Again, a $2,054,522 increase. If you look at the budget as a whole, about 41% of the budget is related to the school and the education of the students in this building. The other costs are associated with tuitioning our students, whether it be high school or tuitioning for special education or for special education services to support our students with IEPs or 504s, any type of plan. So when we look at this budget and we compare to the FY23 budget, our current budget, the significant increase are really around tuitioning. Special education, K through 8 tuition, we're looking at an increase of $500,000, a $46% increase in our special education K through 8 tuition. For the high school level, our tuition has increased by over $1 million. We have a proposed budget, and this is based on our students' needs that we're experiencing this year. We were actually under budgeted from last year based on what we're seeing for students. And we have tuition estimated at $3,881,196, which is a 55% increase compared to last year. And then with this, transporting students, when students are placed in an out-of-district placement, we have to provide the transportation. So we're also seeing a large increase, percentage-wise, in tuitioning students for special education, and that's K through 12. And then we've also seen a 6% increase in our costs for high school, tuitioning our high school students. So that's another, it's $7,086,358 to tuition students 9 through 12, and this is just for regular education. So that's a 6% increase. So those are the primary factors that we're seeing have increased our budget. And if you look in the town report and go line by line, you'll see it's, for the most part, at a level budget. And we really tried not to make any significant changes in our local budget to support students within the school. So the costs are really significant related, those that are not attending in this building. So if you look at the impact on the actual tax rate, the common level of appraisal did not help us, coming in at 86.08%. That came in a lot lower than the FY23, which does have an impact on the homestead tax rate. So we have a proposed net education spending at $20,940,787. Our equalized pupils, even though I showed you enrollments going up, this is a calculated number that's used based on prior enrollments of equalized pupils. Our net education spending per equalized pupil is estimated at $19,018, and the tax yield, the dollar yield that the tax commissioner has set was actually at a gracious number of $15,479, which is up, which helps us with our tax rate. You know, the education funding formula is just a big math problem, and you have to just know where to plug all these numbers in. But the dollar yield does help, because if comparatively, just looking at the school district equalized tax rate compared to last year, it's actually down. But when you apply the common level of appraisal, it does increase our estimated homestead tax rate by 10 cents. Projected for the FY 2024 budget. So that's a 7.68% increase on the tax rate. And so if we look at how this translates into your property taxes, if you own your property and you pay only solely based on your property, you don't qualify for any income sensitivity credits, you would be looking at, if you had a $100,000 home, you'd be looking at an increase compared to last year of $102 for the year, which is $8.50 a month is what it calculates at. And it's actually, our tax rate is back below the FY 2021 estimates. I believe I found on the tax commissioner's website that the average property for a homestead is $137,000 here in St. Johnsbury. So you can get an idea based on your property value what the estimate is for your tax increase for the education fund. Another way to look at it, if you do have are eligible for the tax credits. So this is like the income sensitivity. If you have a total taxable or non-taxable household income of under $134,800, then you would qualify for these tax credits. And so it could potentially, based on this budget, if your household income was $40,000, this proposed budget would be $2 a month after your tax credit. So this just gives you a different scale based on your household income. And so those are a lot of numbers. There's a lot more detail in the annual report. And also on the handouts, feel free to take to learn more about our strategic plan and how we're moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions or comments? It was a very thorough presentation. Well, seeing none, I guess we will move on to anybody who cares to comment on special appropriation requests, items 9 through 27.
Hello, everyone. Bob Jolly, Director of the St. Johnsbury
Just,
Athenaeum.
I think he's, okay, it sounds like his mic isn't on.
1, 2.
There you go.
Okay. I have notes I'll read, so I won't take too long. Only 10 pages. You're next. Hi, I am Bob Jolly, Director of the St. Johnsbury Athenaeum. First of all, thank you voters and taxpayers who have supported the Athenaeum for years. We're asking for your support again tomorrow. A few points on, we're asking for the same amount this year as we have since 2011. So our costs have increased, our request has not. Our request is $115,000 this year, same as it's been since 2011. A few points on money. We are frugal with it. We are fiscally sound and without debt, and we are audited every year by A.M. Peisch and Company LLP. I think it's important to know that somebody looks at how we spend the money. I have a full report in the town report. It's on page 10, but I'll repeat a few statistics here. We're open 40 hours per week, Monday through Saturday. In 2022, we circulated about 40,000 items, including 6,000 books and movies downloaded directly to your devices and homes. Thanks to a very generous donor, we just added an online subscription to Value Line Financial Services. If people know about that, it's a very expensive service, and we've had a donor make that available to us. We have purchased and are installing new patron computers, but we are still a real library because we have books. We recently installed a new state-of-the-art sound and video system in Athenaeum Hall. That's the second floor. To make our programs more dynamic and understandable. Regarding programs, please come and see and hear Wednesday, the day after town meeting, St. Johnsbury Academy instructor Dr. Kevin Cottrell will talk on graphic novels in the classroom. The following week on March 15th, we have an art opening for a show by painter Tara Garreau. A couple more points. Thursday, March 23rd, we have a piano concert with David Childs. Alison Bechtel will be here in person on April 5th. And former Vermont Poet Laureate Chard Denord will be here on April 12th. You can find all of our programs on our website and or stop in at the library. Ride the elevator up and down. Everything's posted in the elevator. A little bit about children and our outreach. We serve 8 different preschool or daycare centers along with what we offer at the Athenaeum. In 2022, we delivered 236 programs, and I have a lot of figures here, and I'm not going to read them because sometimes they just, they overwhelm me. We do a lot to reach out to the community with programs, visiting daycares, and other schools in the area. I'm going to skip a few things here. We delivered a total of 313 programs to homeschoolers, children in daycares and preschools, including Good Shepherd School and St. Johnsbury School, and children coming to the Athenaeum. Karen Haskins is our outreach coordinator. Many of you know her from her time at Good Shepherd School. And Becky Hatfield is our youth services librarian, and they are doing a fantastic job of bringing early literacy support, to children in this town where they are. The Athenaeum is also a safe place for children after school. We have lots of St. Johnsbury School students coming in. Right now, we're partnering with the St. Johnsbury School and Vermont Humanities, hoping to bring author Meg Medina, the newly named National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, to St. Johnsbury this year, so we are super psyched about that. You can read about everything we offer on our website or stop into the Athenaeum. My email address and office phone number are in the town report. Please get in touch with me anytime to talk about what we do. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it, and if there are questions, I'll try to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Connie Sleeth. I'm a volunteer board member here representing Good Living Senior Center. Good Living Senior Center has been in play for many years. During COVID, of course, it shut down. Once we were able to start trying to implement programs again for seniors here in the Northeast Kingdom, we had a few ups and downs as COVID continued to resurface, but now we are in full swing. We have full calendar, which includes exercise classes, Tai Chi, includes 2 kinds of music on several times a month, including karaoke, live music, dancing. We have art, and we are being just heartily welcomed by seniors in the community. So glad to have us back in play. So we're here asking again for $20,000. Our budget is a little more than double that. We are a volunteer board, and we subsidize the programs, we subsidize the trips, and that we take. We have taken 2 trips now, and so we are very pleased and happy to have St. Johnsbury support us. We hope you continue to do so.
Thank you.
Any questions? Before I run?
If there are, they'll come to the mic, so. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andrea Otto, and I do community outreach with Catamount Arts, and I'm also here on behalf of First Night North as well. I know so many of you are such huge supporters of the arts in our community, and I'm so grateful. The town of St. Johnsbury has been an incredible partner with Catamount Arts. We've had an amazing year last year with the Levidamp concert series at Dog Mountain, which is a free concert series. We partnered with the town to do the Final Fridays events right downtown in the street with live music and programming. We have free community films every week at the Arts Center. We do a live stream of the Metropolitan Opera and the National Theatre from London, bringing international arts and culture right here into our community. Through town support, we're able to offer so many free and low-cost tickets to the KCP Presents series, which is just award-winning, international, amazing entertainment. We just had at Fuller Hall the Soweto Gospel Choir. In Lyndonville, we had the Lviv Orchestra, a sold-out show of a full orchestra from Ukraine coming and performing for us here. It was just such an amazing gift, and it's because of you, our community. The arts nourish us, they feed us, not physically, but emotionally. They bring us together, they build community by bringing us together, and it's a really powerful thing that we have here, and so it's because of you. You make it possible, so thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Adam Kane. I'm the Executive Director of the Fairbanks Museum and Planetarium. So to the town of St. Johnsbury, thank you. You've generously supported the museum for decades, and I want you to know that it is really, really appreciated by the museum. So our appropriation request is $63,000, which is the same as it has been for many years. That represents about 4% of our operating budget. It is, it's a significant and an important sum of money to us. That allows every St. Johnsbury resident free admission, unlimited admission to the museum, and we really strongly encourage residents to take advantage of that. In 2022, it was used by 2,700 St. Johnsbury residents, and we just love to see those folks. We have this really rigorous check-in system where you present yourself at the door and you say you're a St. Johnsbury resident, and we welcome you in. And we're going to have a great year. In April, we're going to build a Rube Goldberg machine throughout the museum and have Zach Umpovich, who is an expert in Rube Goldberg, speak about it. In June, we're going to install a temporary exhibit from the American Museum of Natural History called Dinosaurs Among Us. We'll have the Butterfly House again this summer. And then this fall, we will finally open the Tang Science Annex, which is our long-planned addition. I invite any of you to go and take a look behind the museum now on Prospect Street or Charles Street. There is this amazing building that is going up really as we speak. It's really something to see. So, so thank you, and I really, really hope that we see you at the museum.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Avery. I'm the Director of Advocacy for Umbrella.
You can lower the mic if you want.
Can you hear me okay? Is that all right?
That's better.
Okay, thank you, David. Umbrella was established in 1976, and with the support of surrounding communities through Caledonia, Essex, and Orleans County, we've been able to serve a multitude of families and individuals who are experiencing gender-based violence, domestic violence, and sexual violence. We are very thankful that St. Johnsbury has, the voters have supported us, and we are asking again for a request of $9,500. Just to give you a brief overview of the numbers of individuals that we work with, by the way, we're in our new location right next to the museum. We were able to, this is the first property that Umbrella has actually been able to purchase in our history, and we're very excited to be there. Through our social change program, we work with 17 schools, and we've provided 1,865 youth with educational workshops, and also workshops for 214 adults. For our advocacy program, we supported 633 individuals. We were able to house 65 adults and 39 children in our emergency shelter fleeing domestic or sexual violence, and we were able to house 25 people in our transitional housing program. In our family-based services, which focuses on child care and strengthening family relationships, we call it KCCC. They serve 732 families, and the family room worked with 50 families and serving 70 children. Through our economic program, which serves women with significant barriers to employment in Orleans and Northern Essex, we were able to participate in packaging and preparing 30,453 meals for homebound seniors through Meals on Wheels, and also our Dolcette program to support women building job readiness skills. We couldn't do this without the support of our community members, so we thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you.
My name is Scott Beck, and I'm the president of the St. Johnsbury Kiwanis Club. We're on Article 16, asking for $29,000 this year to operate the Kiwanis pool. The pool for the season takes about $70,000 to operate. We raise the rest of it through fundraising and contribute about 1,000 volunteer hours to keep the cost down. Last year we were open for physical therapy swim, general swim, family swim, 7 days a week for general swim, and we provided 380 Red Cross lessons to 380 different youth, all of that at no cost to anybody that uses the pool. So we would greatly appreciate your support on Article 16. And we are looking to expand our club and grow our membership. We meet on the last Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the VFW. And if you're interested in getting involved and helping to support the Kiwanis pool, please get in touch. We'd like to talk to you about Kiwanis. Thank you.
May I ask, how old is the pool?
The pool, I believe, the construction began in 1944. So I guess we're in our 79th year.
I am almost also. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Hank Cheney, and I'm a member of the board for the Area Agency on Aging. And we're deeply appreciative that for the years 2000, 2021, and 22, you have funded us with $7,200, and that's our request for again this year. I might mention that in the year 2022, 670 residents, senior residents of St. Johnsbury received assistance from the Area Agency on Aging. And my wife and I are two of those in that number. we have a handicapped son, and the Area Agency on Aging worked carefully with us, trying to figure out how we could care for his needs. So that's just one of the ways that the Agency on Aging works to keep our senior citizens independent with Medicare assistance, emergency assistance, housing, food, fuel, and we support other agencies with it. So we ask you to continue to support us with $7,200 again this year. Thank you.
Thank you. does he do that? Is he here? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fine. We have a representative from the CUD here who'd like to make a comment and explain what CUD is.
I'm so glad you asked. My name is Nick Anzalone. I'm a St. Johnsbury resident. I am the representative for St. Johnsbury for the Northeast Kingdom Community Broadband, which is a community communications union district. St. Johnsbury voted in 2020 to join the CUD, and so we're founding members. That's when NEK Broadband was founded. At that time, there was 26 towns. We now have 56 member towns and gores in the Northeast Kingdom. That makes us the largest CUD in the state. We are also the most rural CUD in the state. There are, last time I checked, I think about 30,000 residents in the Northeast Kingdom, and more than 17,000 of those, sorry, not residents, residences, premises, like houses, more than 17,000 of those premises do not have adequate broadband service. That means, although we're the most rural area of the state and don't contain the huge population that much of the rest of the state has, we represent something like 30% of the underserved addresses in all of Vermont are in the Northeast Kingdom. We're a little bit luckier in St. Johnsbury. Our profile's a little bit better. I think the last time I checked the state numbers, somewhere around 75 or 80% of residences in St. Johnsbury have access to adequate broadband. But I promise if you ask any of the residents who are in that 20%, they will tell you loudly how much of a problem it is and how it's not getting better. So that's our mission: is universal service, universal access to adequate broadband in the Northeast Kingdom. And I'm hoping to just say a few words about our progress, because there's been a lot. We now own and manage about 170 miles of fiber that was constructed by the state across the northern part of the Northeast Kingdom. We have constructed brought fiber to over 500 premises in, I think, Concord, Waterford, and Lunenburg. That was sort of our pilot project. That's been going really well this last year. We're super lucky to have Krista Shute as our executive director. If you don't know her, she's amazing. She doesn't live here currently, but she was, I believe, born and raised in the Northeast Kingdom, and she's a very, very fierce advocate and competent negotiator on behalf of the Northeast Kingdom. Some examples of how that's played out: we have like some of the contracts with the folks that we do with construction work. We have clauses that say like 95% of the folks who are doing that construction work are going to be residents of the Northeast Kingdom. So she's trying very hard to keep the labor local. We've secured $31 million in grants, which is a huge amount of money, but it's also a massive project. There's about 2,800 miles of fiber that have to be constructed in the Northeast Kingdom for an estimated cost of $190 million. So this year we're working hard to raise more money. We have about $30 million more that we're trying to raise, and additional grants in the pipeline. Grant money and construction programs are part of how we keep the costs down. So cost is something we're really worried about. We applied for and received certification for the Affordable Connectivity Program, which allows residents to apply for relief when they do get access to our services. This year we have 612 miles of make-ready applications ordered. Make-ready is like the stuff that has to happen to the poles before they can actually hang the fiber. And we're hoping to build approximately 350 miles of fiber this next year, which would bring access to roughly 3,000 premises across the Northeast Kingdom. The way that that's going to play out in the next 2 years, we're hoping by the end of 2024 that 45 of our member towns will have, we will have provided some new service to 45 of our member towns in portions of those towns. For St. Johnsbury in particular, in this round, we have planned 17.3 miles, serving approximately 116 residences. And the first phase of that, I think, is going to be happening along the eastern border of St. Johnsbury. What else can I tell you? I think that's good. If you have additional questions, the best way to stay updated is actually to register at our website, get.nekbroadband.org, and you can put in your email address and fill out a form and get updated when we send out updates. I will also make myself available after tonight if you have questions around specific places that we're building, and I'm going to come by the Welcome Center tomorrow morning before work and after work. I didn't get the day off. And I will be available there for folks who are watching at home if you want to come ask me questions. So again, my name is Nick. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, I appreciate your attendance and those who watched from home. And tomorrow, if you haven't voted already, again, it's 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Depot Square. And vote. Thank you for coming.